Hi, my name is Kathy Salata. I have lived experience with an eating disorder, and I would love to share with you how I overcame my addiction to exercise. Believe it or not, it can be an addiction. And I was there, and I remember when my therapist mentioned mindful movement, I had no idea what that concept was, just like I had no idea what intuitive eating was. So I'd love to share that I am a recovered exercise addict. I live in Southern California where there's an abundance of superficiality and appearances, so it's easy to hide over exercise. I was an avid long distance runner who discovered tremendous reduction in anxiety after a great run. I felt present, I felt centered and balanced for the first time. And that was the only experience I had that whole day was that morning run. I ran 7 days a week, and the thought of having a rest day seemed like a good thing for other people, but not for me. I discovered that my exercise routine wasn't interfering with my sleep. I would make time each morning, even if I had to get up at 2 or 3 in the morning. That was red flag number one. I ran outdoors instead of on a treadmill, and on one occasion, our city official asked people to stay inside due to harmful air. I live in Southern California, so we had some wildfires, and the fire was coming from inland out to the ocean area where I lived. So I thought to myself, how bad can it be? A little smog. I live in Southern California. So did my run outside, and I returned from my run bent over, coughing, coughing, and coughing as if I just smoked an entire pack of cigarettes. I was doing the wrong thing. And I knew I was doing the wrong thing because I hid it. I could not admit to others that I used exercise to hurt my body, not to help it. That afternoon, I drove to my dad's house and asked him to hide my running shoes. I would not see those running shoes again for over 3 years. In the all or nothing black and white thinking I was experiencing, the thought of mindful movement seemed out of reach and basically impossible. So, as a former skeptic turned advocate of mindful movement, I'd love to share the journey and ways to incorporate mindful movement in your life. So, in the journey of recovery from disordered eating or an eating disorder, finding harmony between the mind and body is essential. Moving your body is a good thing. And while exercise may have once been associated with punishment, control, mindful movement is 180 from that. It's a complete new perspective. It's one rooted in self-care, self-awareness, compassion. So I'm going to share with you some of the tools that I have used. So mindful movement is important, especially for those impacted by an eating disorder, because it does reduce your stress and it shouldn't cause distress or compensation. So if you are in the mindset of, I need to work out another half hour because I ate this for dinner last night, that's not mindful movement. So let's talk about some things that are mindful movement. One, you get to reconnect with your body. That's one of the big benefits. Often with eating disorders, we have actually disconnected our mind and body, and this puts us together. That is why a lot of people who have suffered from disordered eating or eating disorders use yoga, because you're in these poses for a longer period of time and it allows you to really concentrate, connect, and be present. You can also cultivate some self compassion. So if you're like me, not having a rest day, instead of pushing beyond its limit, mindful movement was going to encourage self compassion and gentleness. It's going to allow you to manage stress and anxiety effectively. You're focusing on the present moment. So that's why yoga, again, is so helpful for a lot of people with past eating issues. And you get to build a positive relationship with exercise. It is not a punishment, it is a gift. So, how can you do this? One, start small, just with gentle exercises that feel enjoyable, sustainable. It could be walking, yoga, Tai Chi. And instead of focusing on how many calories you're burning, how many steps you're taking, focus on how you feel. Another great one is tune into your sensations, taste, touch, feel. all of those great ones. You can feel the muscles stretching, contracting, right? You can feel that when you're in a yoga pose, for example. It's also an opportunity for you to practice that mindful breathing where you're taking those slow, deep breaths. It's not fast breaths, right from the gut, and let go of judgment. Release the urge to compare yourself to others. You have your own expectations of yourself. And remember that mindful movement is about acceptable self compassion, regardless of your fitness level or ability. And then be flexible and adaptive. Listen to your body's cues and adjust your activity level accordingly. So, for example, I have a hurt knee, and this morning it was hurting me today. I had planned to do some weight training, and instead I just did some stretches, and my body is thanking me for that. So, mindful movement offers a pathway to healing, to self discovery by those impacted by eating disorders. So, when you approach it with some awareness, some compassion, acceptance, it's possible to cultivate a positive relationship with movement and reconnect with the body's innate wisdom. Remember that the journey towards recovery is unique to each individual, so be patient and kind to yourself along the way. Give yourself grace. And if you are nervous about approaching this and you might have had an exercise addiction like I did, one thing that I always like to ask myself is, would I allow my child to do this? And that takes me back to when I ran when it was a bad weather, when it was a smog day due to the wildfires. I would never allow my child to do this. So why would I allow myself to? Thank you so much for listening. Here's to movement for the mind, for the body, and for the soul. Thank you.